Hey everyone, my name's Madison. Thanks for checking out my channel. Today I am going to do a bit of a discussion on A Gentleman in Moscow by Amor Towles. I read this book several years ago when we were still in Alaska, and I decided to pick it up because my brother-in-law was in Ukraine at the time. He read the book and he loved it. He has great taste in books, so I decided to read it as well. I loved it. You can still see all of my post-it notes in here, and I actually went back and looked at them again today and just fell in love with the story and the writing all over again. But I didn't film the video several years ago because there's also a lot of really good food in this story, a lot of Russian food, and I thought it would be fun to film kind of a Russian cooking episode where I tried to make some of the recipes that were in the book and then talk about the book, but that was a little overwhelming, and so I didn't do it. I will say I have had some excellent Russian-Ukrainian food since then because my sister-in-law is Ukrainian, and the last time we were up in New York, she was kind enough to make us some food, but in general, I didn't feel like I could do it myself. So I never filmed the video. I decided to film the video today because on multiple occasions, including earlier this morning, I hear big-time booktubers and podcast reviewers and people like that give a summary of this book that is completely wrong. I'm not talking about like their opinion about the book is wrong. No, like factually inaccurate. And it drives me nuts. And so I want to tell you what this book is actually about. I'm gonna try to be polite. I'm gonna try not to be too sassy, but you know, be patient with me. So, this is what people say the book is about. They say, A Gentleman in Moscow is about a Russian aristocrat who wrote a poem and was put under house arrest because he wrote that poem. And the story takes you through his life as he learns how to live without all of the fancy stuff that he had as a Russian aristocrat. That is not what happens. Here's what the story is actually about. A Gentleman in Moscow is about a Russian aristocrat who is sentenced to death along with the rest of his Russian aristocrat family by the Bolsheviks. However, the Bolsheviks found out that he wrote this poem that was kind of pro-revolution and pro-socialism, so they decide, well, we're not going to execute you, we'll just put you under house arrest because, you know, you might be useful. And the story takes you through the rest of his life as he is in house arrest. Okay, did you see the difference there? The poem is not what incriminates him. Being a Russian aristocrat is what incriminates him. The poem actually saves him from execution, like the rest of his family and like the rest of the Russian aristocrats who didn't flee the country in time. This becomes vitally important to the character and to the plot of the story because, spoiler alert, he didn't write the poem. He is saved from execution under false pretenses. And later on in the story, you find out who actually wrote the poem. And this character is the main character is forced to live with the fact that he's saved under false pretenses. And when the person who actually wrote the poem comes to light, you realize that it might be really good if it might be helpful if the Bolsheviks knew that he wrote the poem. So, you know, he doesn't get murdered. I'm kind of being sarcastic here, but it's so vitally important to the plot that you know why he is under house arrest, and it's not because of a poem. Additionally, this story takes you through this man's experiences as he gets used to a different lifestyle. Truly it does, but not in the sense that he doesn't get his fancy things anymore. He's living in a luxury hotel, so he still has many of the amenities that he always had. But you see the destruction of Russian culture because of the Bolshevik socialist communist regime from inside the hotel. And it was a fascinating, beautiful story because of that. I mean, I just think, what a creative way to tell a story. You're going to talk about how the world changes from inside of a hotel. It's so neat and powerful and meaningful. You see that not just the big aspects of society change, but all the way down to what food is available and what food it's okay for you to eat. This story is important to get right because understanding what happened during the Bolshevik Revolution is important. It is intellectually and factually dishonest to say that this is a story about a man who endured house arrest because he wrote a poem. It's essentially saying, oh, what happened to the Russian aristocrats during the Bolshevik Revolution really wasn't that bad, and that's just a lie. It's kind of just like saying, oh, it wasn't that bad, he got to live in a hotel the rest of his life. No, you're totally missing the point. And almost being willfully ignorant, I really don't get it. It's very important that we understand what was wrong with the Russian aristocracy because that led to the Bolshevik Revolution. And it's very important that we understand what was wrong with the Bolshevik Revolution because it was one of the pivotal moments in the 20th century and is part of why the world is the way it is today. I can't stress how important I think it is to speak accurately about this book, not just because I thought it was a stellar book, but because understanding history is important. And I really wanted to share that with you today. I hope I wasn't too sassy. I would love to know what you think about this book. I know many people say it was very different than Rules of Civility, which I believe is Amor Towles' first book and very well loved. I haven't read that one yet, but I do want to. I would love to hear, if you have read this, let me know what you think. What did you think it was about? Did you think it was interesting or boring? Because, you know, he is in the hotel most of the time. For whatever reason. Let me know what you think, guys. Thanks for watching. Bye.